Stand, join with me in the pledge to our flag and country. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Remain standing for our prayer, please.
Let's pray. Holy God, as the city council gathers here, we thank you for calling us together for this meeting. This is our privilege and our responsibility to support, foster, and advance the mission of the city of Guthrie, Oklahoma. We depend upon you to guide it and will bring it to fulfillment. Enable us to draw upon the wisdom and experience of yesterday as we respond to the questions and concerns of tomorrow. Give us freedom to speak the truth boldly and with kindness. Give us patience to listen openly without prejudice. Give us confidence to discover and explore new possibilities. And give us wisdom to discern what is right and good and just, and the courage to do it. All glory, honor, and praise are yours, holy God, for all ages. Amen.
Amen. Thank you, Pastor. Open our Guthrie Public Works Authority meeting of July 6th. Second item on the agenda is public comments, community announcements, recognitions. We've got a couple requests for announcements. Mr. Braggs. You weren't speaking on a specific agenda item, I don't believe, right? It's not a specific agenda item.
No. I was just invited to come down.
Identify yourself, please, your
Okay.
address. You have 5 minutes.
Okay, my name is Harvey Braggs. I live at 617 East Valley in Guthrie, Oklahoma. I'm a lifelong resident of Guthrie. I just have some recommendations. I would like the city council and the mayor to consider the fireworks permit, the dates. From reading one of the handouts that comes into the water bill, on 4th of July, you're only allowed to shoot fireworks to 11 o'clock. But during New Year's Eve, the hours are up to 12:30. So I would like a recommendation possibly to have that increased to that time, somewhere in that hour from 12 to 12:30. Also, I'd like to extend the date of the fireworks sales. From my understanding, you start selling fireworks in Guthrie, the city limits, around June the 16th. I would like that increased possibly to around the 4th or thereafter. My reason is, if you're allowed to sell fireworks, why can't they be discharged? You know, it's kind of like giving a person a permit to carry a gun, but you don't give them bullets to use it. Okay. Also,
It's an interesting analogy.
so these are, and also when I bought my permit to be able to discharge fireworks on July the 2nd, which was a Friday, I wasn't aware that that day wasn't covered during the permit time. It was from the 3rd, 4th, and 5th. My grandkids would have loved to have been able to shoot them on the 2nd, the Friday, rather than the 5th, which I don't have a problem with the 5th, but I think closer to the 4th, that weekend, 2nd, 3rd, 4th, should be allowed. You may want to increase the price of the permit, but I think residents would much enjoy a longer time being able to shoot their fireworks, discharging rather, in the city limits and be within the law than, shooting them without permits or after the hours if you extend those hours for the permits and the times. Okay, that's it.
That's it?
Yes.
Mr. Braggs? Any questions of Mr. Braggs from the council? Okay, thank you very much
Thank
for your
you.
comments. Chief, you would like to make a few comments? Is it appropriate right now?
As you guys know, we hosted the Oklahoma State Firefighters Convention here a few weeks ago in Guthrie. I just wrapped up my term serving as president of that association. And as such, we had about 300 to 400 firefighters and other family and folks here in town for part of that week. The city was a great help in that, allowing myself and our personnel the time to help get stuff set up and help with the various events that we had. And by doing so, I have a little gift to each one of you just to commemorate the event, a little bit of a keepsake. So if you would allow me, Mayor, I'll hand those out right quick.
Absolutely.
And last but not least, one of you up there was a huge help for this event in preparing several pounds of barbecue brisket for our picnic that we had on Thursday night. And I've got a little bit of extra gift for him from our staff to him for his help in that. But I also want to extend a special thanks to you, Mayor, and Vice Mayor Case. Each one of them presented a welcome address both to the retirees convention on Tuesday that week and also our regular state firefighters convention on Thursday that week. So I appreciate you guys taking the time out of your day to come do that. But if you'll allow me, I'll present those
Our
gifts.
pleasure. Absolutely.
Thank
Go
you.
ahead, Chief.
And what these are, guys, this is every year convention, those of you who know the military around know what challenge coins are. And every year convention, we do a challenge coin to commemorate the event. This one has our State Firefighters Association logo on one side, and on the other side, it has our convention logo for the year.
You don't got one, John?
Jim got his.
Oh, there you go.
So-
Nice.
Neat coin.
And these are in a little special presentation case, so if you have a desk or a shelf, you can display them. And then for Councilman Channel, I got a little special gift. Something I know he's wanted for a long time, and if you'll notice, even in his colors. And I'll tell you, the guy that makes our fronts for us, he goes, "What color do you want?" I was like, "It's kind of a lime green yellow." I was like, "Hang on, I'll send you a picture." So I sent him a picture of your records, and he took it from there. So, Don, we appreciate it.
You bet.
Huge help.
I gotta wear it totally.
My guy said you guys start learning on car bikes. There's a ratchet. in there, so I need to lose some stuff.
That's going in the truck.
But I appreciate the city's support. I'm finishing up my year as past president, and I'll be done with that board. But the city as a whole was a huge help throughout that event, and we greatly appreciate the opportunity to bring you here. Had great reviews, folks loved the businesses and had a great time when they were here. So, we appreciate all these.
Good.
Good job, Eric.
Yeah. Item number 3, consent agenda. Agenda A and B is A is the approval of the Special Works Authority workshop meeting of June 15th, and B is the approval of the minutes of the Public Works Authority meeting of June 15th. I'll entertain a motion and a second.
So moved.
And a second? A motion and a second. Any questions? Submit your votes. See the votes. Unanimous approval of the consent agenda items A and B. Item number 4, discussion and possible action to approve accepting a grant from the Oklahoma Water Resources Board for the amount of $100,555. Tenny, Leroy?
Back on May 4th, City Council adopted Resolution 2021-10 authorizing staff to apply for this grant. And so tonight, what you're doing is accepting the grant. We can go over or answer any questions you have, but it's a follow-up to the resolution that you authorized us to submit the grant, and now we're just accepting it.
Motion moved. Second.
And this is a matching, there's a 50,000.
They are paying 65% of the cost, and we're paying 35%. It gives us the engineering to plan the work. The next phase would be when we have funding in place to apply for a grant to actually do the construction. But this gets us started to the point that we'll have the engineering work done so that when we want to pursue the construction grant, we're ready to do that. And rather than us pay 100%, we're getting 65% of it paid for by OWRB.
No brainer. I'm sorry, so who had the motion?
Brian, that's it.
Brian, second. Okay, any other discussion? Submit your votes. See the votes. Unanimous approval to accept $100,000 plus. That being the last item on the agenda, we're adjourned. And I open our city council meeting of July 6th. Second item on the agenda, consent agenda items A, B, and C. A is the approval of the minutes of special city council workshop of June 15th. B is the approval of the minutes of the city council meeting of June 15th. And C is the approval accepting a donation of a 2009 International with a bucket lift from OG&E.
Nice.
I'll entertain a motion. We have a motion. Who's the second? I'm sorry. Motion and a second. Any discussion? All in favor? Submit your votes. See the votes. Unanimous approval of the 3 consent agenda items. I'd like to stop there, and we've got the acceptance of this international, which from OG&E, which is pretty significant. Tenny, you want to talk a little bit about how this came about?
Sure, I'd like to
What it does
just,
for us?
Mayor, if you don't mind, I'd just like to recognize Spencer Brown. He's with OG&E, he's our community affairs manager. It's been a pleasure working with Spencer through this process and several other projects that we've got going on in town, working with Spencer. Spencer, would you like to say a few things?
If you give us the truck, you get to make comments.
Well, I second what Tenny says. It's been a pleasure working with Tenny and Leroy. You know, I accepted this position a month before everything shut down, so it's good to see you guys in person now. I've been watching your Facebook stream, but no, it's awesome. You know, they brought it to my attention earlier on, said, hey, we've been looking into trying to get a truck, and we kind of ran into some obstacles, but we were pretty persistent, and here we are today, and you guys will have a bucket truck that'll hopefully help out the city. And so I'm happy to be your community affairs manager, and I just look forward to working with all of you.
Spencer, welcome. I was going to say, welcome to Team Guthrie, Spencer.
I need to make him my friend.
Okay, item number 3, discussion and action to approve awarding a bid number 2021-5, demolition and site clearance of a number of buildings.
Good evening.
Good evening.
So I'm just going to start with the list off of the cover letter here. 624 East Grant. There's been no progress made. There's no permits pulled on this. 916 West Logan is actually from 2020, Resolution 2020-02. No progress on this one either. 1102 West Manser is no progress on it. And then 1111 West Noble. This one was also from 2020. We don't have it, well, there's a little progress on this one, but there's no permits pulled.
Wasn't that the one where she was gonna go in and rebuild the whole inside?
The guy was working on it this last weekend.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, these are the
He's been there for
pictures
the last
from last
week.
year's meeting,
Right.
and these are from, July 1st.
And when you're stating that either there's no permits or there's been no action taken, these are the reasons that these are being demolished, or the proposal is coming to us.
Yes.
To approve the demolition.
Yeah, it's been well over a
They've been
year.
given time.
Yeah.
I've seen cars there this week, a pickup and a car.
Yeah, that guy's been working on that all week. I've seen him up there on an extension ladder. I saw him Saturday and Sunday, both.
Well, but it's
But
slotted
he just
in
comes
this.
in, he told us that he just comes in and he'll work like a week. He'll just stay here and work on it a week, and then he goes back home and goes back to work again at his job. This is where he wants to retire to. So if you think he's done a better job than these
That's-
other guys, I'm willing to leave him alone for now. He's actually working on it.
Like 20 years old.
But is he
Yeah, that's-
filing permits? If he's not filing permits, if he's not filing.
Well, if all he's doing is working on siding and stuff, what's the permit? If there's not a skilled trade involved, there's not one.
Yeah, but if he's not communicating with the city,
But
When he
Bill,
knows he's
Bill,
in
what's
this
the permit?
process.
What's the permit? That he
At the
didn't-
meeting last year, he was told that he needed to get with the building department and pull permits for whatever work needed to be done. The picture there is in February of 2020. It's still not a habitable structure. There's no water, there's no electric. This is all that's happened in a year, a little over a year. So, and that's right there on Noble, right across from,
I can't tell what's happened. That's not even the same side of the house. Right?
well, that's the back of the house, and then this is the front of the house.
Right. So the back
So
still
part of
looks
the
like
back's
that?
been torn off, and as far as I know, that's all that's happened.
Yeah.
I remember last year it was covered in blue tarps because the roof was gone, and the roof's been taken care of now. And some of the front facades have been taken care of now. I don't know, man, he's actively working on it. I hate to do anything on that. I mean, I'd maybe do something, but not tear it down. Maybe fine him, write him a ticket, you know, bust his chops a little bit, but I don't wanna, on that one, I disagree, Bill. That's it.
If-
It's the only one I disagree with.
If you disagree, you could always make a motion to pull it off the list.
I don't think we wanna pull it off the list.
Well, the
Well, then it's
demolition
going
I mean,
list,
the demolition list,
Correct.
yes,
Yes.
I'd like to make that motion.
Okay.
That we pull it off, since he's actively working on it.
It's been there for a year now. He's had little to no progress for a year. I guess we can start citing him daily in hopes that that gets enough incentive.
Have we cited him? What have we done?
We've tried to get with him to get,
Everything but cited.
to get progress, but we're a year in and he's had little to no progress.
You know, I think when all
And
these...
it's on one of our main view
The year end, you
corridors
need to
of
be done with
Noble.
the project.
Yeah.
You know, when all of these come up, the key word is substantial progress. It's always,
I understand.
always emphasize that.
I understand.
So is that substantial progress in a year?
No, that should be done in a year.
I just think we're in a slippery slope if we say, okay, you know, if you make a few, put up some siding the last 2 weeks of, before it goes to council. I just think that's a slippery slope.
Does he know it's coming back to council?
It did not, well, so last year when it was declared dangerous and dilapidated, it didn't make our list. Number one, because of the money, the funding, and number two, he was actively working on it. And I hadn't seen any progress in it in a long time. And so when we came up to put the bids together this year, which we've had a lot of progress on our list that was declared dangerous and dilapidated this year. That one's still sitting there, and I hadn't seen any progress on it, and haven't heard from him. So, as far as I know, there's no plans to put water in the house, there's no plans to put electric in the house. Does he plan on it? I don't know.
Well, I mean, I see where he's done demo, but what kind of construction's he done? I mean,
Well, he hasn't had any permits, so
So you
there's
don't know
no,
if he's done anything
if he's
special.
done foundation, it was without permits. I don't
Did
see any
foundation work?
I don't see any foundation work.
Okay.
All he's done is taken off the back of the house and put up some plywood and some tarps.
Well, I just think that, I think we make it pretty clear that there needs to be progress. And I think the other thing that we make pretty clear, maybe we need to emphasize it even more, is that the owner needs to have significant communication with our office.
I don't believe I've seen this guy since our
I
meeting
mean, that's
last
his
year.
responsibility.
It is.
You know, it's unfortunate if he started to show some interest, but
I remember him coming in here and to our meeting.
I remember
And
too.
We originally looked at this, and that's been a year ago.
I would just think in a year, if someone was gonna redo something, it would be done. A year's a long time, okay, to leave a dilapidated structure in that state.
I mean, to pull no permits for.
That's what I'm saying, they've done nothing, as far as I'm concerned.
My thought is that he probably should have hired somebody locally to take care of it, so he could get it taken care of.
Here's my
He can't
thought.
be here.
He doesn't have the means to do it, so.
He doesn't?
continue- That's my thought. I mean, otherwise, why isn't it done? That's why we
Well,
continue
to
to look
contact
at it.
somebody else to do it, okay.
Go ahead.
All right, here's 1501 West Noble. I did just notice that this has changed ownership since it was declared dangerous and dilapidated. So it's possible that that owner has plans to tear it down themselves. but it's still on our list because there's no permits pulled on this one.
I believe they do have a plan for that one.
And it may come. So this might get pulled off the list, and if someone's gonna take responsibility for it, we're gonna let them, and we'll use that money somewhere else.
And maybe that's what that guy needs to do, is take responsibility for it, because otherwise, again,
Well, I
we'll
mean,
be-
how long before demolition will begin? And what do you do between now and then but to notify the owner?
So tonight, it would be the awarding the bids to the contractors that were the lowest bidders on these houses. Between now and signing contracts would be the time allotted before something to change, which it possibly could.
But you'll contact the homeowners in the meantime before signing the contracts, or no? They have to watch this to find out
Yes, we will notify the property owners.
prior
Those,
to.
Yes.
those property
to-
owners I know are gone for a month.
Okay,
So I'd be good with holding them back because we don't want to put our money into it if they have a plan for it.
that's right.
And I'm pretty sure something's gonna happen with that. Because
Okay.
we went to the problem of buying it, so that one we probably should hold back because I know there's a plan in the works.
Well, you probably got a contact number for the new owners, right?
Yes.
So maybe a phone call is warranted, right? Just to say, we can do it.
When's our next planned demo? If we have other houses that are on our list, what's our next planned demo?
Like I said, I'd say about 2 weeks before we're signing contracts with the companies.
Okay,
If
no,
they're
I mean,
awarded.
before you give us another list like this, when's it gonna be?
Oh, it'd be next year's.
Okay, you're not gonna.
Unless for some reason I end up with a bunch of money this
I know
year.
that sometimes we have them to come in and correct the problems and we don't end up tearing them out, so we use that money and do it again.
Yeah, we're fixing to see some of those from that from the list this year that have been completely taken care of. 506 East Lincoln, no progress on this one. 919 East Grant, there's no progress on this one and there's no permits, but this owner actually contacted me today and said he was entering into a contract with one of the contractors that bid it. So it's possible this one doesn't get awarded during the contract because they contracted them.
Which is good news for us.
In this instance, it's actually the same company that had the lowest bid. 1007 East Vilas, no progress on this one. No permits pulled. This is 610 South Capitol. The property owner has torn off the back of the house, has building permits, has repaired the foundation under the house and gotten inspections. 701 South Capitol has a contract, and so that's why it's not on our list for bids this year. 702 East Grant, the owners removed this structure from the property, and they're in the process of getting their building plans in to build a new structure on this lot. 806 East Warner, that structure was removed, footings and all, and this is the new house that's partially built. 1218 West Noble, the property owner removed the blight off of the front of the house, painted it, the house, and it's actually under contract with a local company that remodels houses.
Well, good. So progress is being made on some of these.
1407 East Vilas, the property owner on this one's under contract and has a demo permit to remove that himself. And 1502 West Cleveland is not declared dangerous and dilapidated anymore. It was removed, but this is a progress picture from where they've got the demo part of it done and they're in the process of reframing.
So
Hey, can you flip back to the Noble one for a minute?
Big two-story?
Yeah. That one, what is that, 1501?
So on that one, because we know there's new owners and we understand their intent is to tear it down themselves, what you could do is go ahead and authorize and award the bid, and we just won't issue the notice to proceed or sign the contract on that one until we have a chance to talk to the new owners. Then if they're going to tear it down and pull a permit, we won't sign the contract. If they don't, then we would sign the contract that you approved and have it tore down.
Well, if we can get a hold of them, I know they're out of the country.
We'll wait till they get back.
Okay.
That's fine, as long as they're,
Yeah.
I think they'll clear it up.
Yeah, we'll hold that one if you award it tonight until we talk to them.
All right.
And if they will get a demolition permit and move forward, we won't actually issue a start work order on it or sign the contract. If they get back and say, well, we don't have any plans, then we'll go ahead and tear it down.
Sounds good.
Okay, I'll entertain a motion then to award that bid 2021-05 with the provision as identified for 1501 West Noble.
So moved.
A motion second?
Second.
A motion and a second. Any other discussion? Submit your votes. See the votes. Unanimous approval and to award bid 2021-05 with the provision as identified. Item number 4, discussion possible action to confirm mayor's nomination to the Guthrie Board of Adjustments. A is to confirm the reappointment of Robert Kenworthy for a term through May 31st, 2024. And B is to approve the reappointment of Sue Ducharme for a term through May 31st, 2024. That's in addition to the 2 terms that she's already served on that board.
So I want to talk about that because I happen to know personally some people that are on boards that are told they got to go and they don't have options to renew because their term length has expired.
Well, we just recently introduced the opportunity to extend.
On these, you didn't. This is the only one I've seen the opportunity to extend on.
Well, that's not true. We've extended it at least one time since that.
To who?
Well, I don't remember the specifics, but I know that we've been at least one, maybe 2.
Yeah,
We
to
all
Michael,
voted for this.
To who?
We all voted for this about 3 months ago, 3-4 months ago, Brian.
just to answer your question, that came up with the current chairman of the Board of Adjustment, Michael O'Neill. He had termed out, we did not have qualified applicants, so under the new provisions, he was reappointed even though he had 2 full terms. And so his appointment now is till 2023, because that was last year.
Okay.
And that
I
was-
know someone on park board that was told you got to relinquish your position because your
Maybe
term's
that
up.
was before
Well, this was here
this,
not long ago.
before we approved.
I don't recall making a, maybe I wasn't here for that meeting. I don't
I
recall.
would say I
that.
don't think we've done a great job of trying to find people. I mean, the person I had appointed for the Rates and Fees Committee would be more than willing to serve on this board. So I don't think that that we've run out of people to serve, it's just we're not seeking them well.
Well, the person that I was appointing for the Rates and Fee Committee, who's actually in this room, is willing to serve as well on that board.
They just have to get their nominations in.
Well, right, but I didn't know that, I thought, and at one point in time, and I'm not trying to be argumentative, Mayor, but at one point in time, we had a situation where you weren't the only one that was going to be appointing these boards, that we were going to have conversation of it and give opportunity for council to be able to give recommendations or bring people forward on some of these boards, and none of that's happened.
Well, that's up to you guys.
Well, I understand, but I think that maybe I didn't know that this particular board was coming due, okay, as you obviously did.
I didn't know it was coming due until I saw it on the agenda.
Exactly, I didn't either.
It's a little too late.
Well,
Just like I didn't realize that the council appoints the vice mayor and not the mayor appoints the vice mayor.
Well, it's in the utility bills I announce, just a minute. I announce it just about every time at city council
Right.
meetings that we have vacancies in X, Y, and Z, and I have done Board of Adjustments, even though I wasn't here at the last meeting, but before that, I did. And it's on the city website. So there's, I mean,
There's
if you're
areas to
saying
see
you
it.
don't know, how do we expect the public to know?
Well, exactly. That's exactly right.
So we've got some challenges.
Right.
And if you've got somebody that's here that was willing to serve on the Board of Adjustment, they ought to be making their nomination. And James, the same with you.
But again, just like you said, if we don't know as a council, how do you expect the public to know? And so therefore,
Well,
it's a selection that seems to be
What is your
continuing.
solution?
I don't know. Well, I
We have
mean,
workshops every freaking meeting. It could be a workshop agenda item, say, hey, we've got these boards, let's talk about who could be potentials. That'd be a great workshop item.
and it would.
I would agree.
Names?
I didn't know it was coming up. I didn't even know what it was until I saw it on the agenda and started doing research. And then what I could find out about that board, then I asked our city manager and he explained it more in depth. And I also have someone that was interested in serving who was on my choice for the fees, advisory fee. So I don't know, what do we do at this point? Do we table and wait and see if these others want to join? It's also my understanding that actually there's only 3 active board members now on this board. Because one moved out of the city or something?
Well, yeah, there's actually one that has been reappointed. His term ends, that's Michael O'Neill, ends in 31st of May in 2023. The two of you, or the 2 that were tonight, have expired terms, and then there's 2 vacancies. So actually, there's 4 positions available.
So Robert Kenworthy, however, is going for his second term.
Yes, he could be reappointed, but again, that's again up to obviously the council and that, but yeah, there's 2 expired terms and 2 vacancies.
So I would make a motion that we, on A, we confirm mayor's reappointment of Robert Kenworthy, and on B, we do not waive the restriction of an individual serving more than 2 terms for this board.
Only because,
Second.
I was gonna make a comment, but I agree with the second. Only because I think that we have ample people that wanna be on this board, or are willing to be on this board.
That's yet to be determined.
Exactly, so
Well,
that's
that's
why,
determined.
that's
How long
why
we
if
had
we do it
vacancies?
this way, we'll have more
Oh, this,
opportunity for them
we've had these for 2 months?
Yeah, I mean, 2 of the vacancies were very recently because of resignations and that, so
And one-
probably within the last
And
month.
one
But
moving out of the city.
yeah, and those were fairly
But
recently.
And Sue's appointment expires when?
It expired at the end of May. Yeah, same with
So
Roberts.
there's 2 months there.
Yeah.
Let's table the second part.
We've already got a motion and a second.
You know,
No, to disapprove.
we have a motion and a second.
Okay.
And then what'll
And we're
happen
in
is-
discussion right now.
And then what'll
I
happen-
think to eliminate Sue without knowing that there are other candidates that are actually going to put their submission in is premature. And I
Well, are we voting for Sue, or are we voting for the change in the consecutive term?
the motion was to approve Kenworthy and to not approve the extension of the 3rd term.
At this
for Sue
time,
Sharp.
should we have an opportunity to get other
I
people to
didn't hear
submit
at this
their?
time.
Okay, so, yeah. it's-
Other
it has
people,
nothing to do
for
with
other
Sue at
people to
this
get to
point.
submit their applications, and we need to come up with a better format of how we are all informed of what's going on with these boards, instead of just, having to peruse the city website for $1 a year to find out what's vacant.
Okay, you be in charge of that.
I'm not gonna be in charge of that.
Would you accept the change in the motion to table B?
No.
Okay. That's your
Okay,
answer.
so
That's your answer
the
then.
motion as it stands is what?
Is to approve Kenworthy, A, and to disapprove the extension for a 3rd term of Sue DeShawn.
No.
No,
It was
it's
to
to
waive
waive the
the
restriction.
To waive the restrictions
Serving more than 2 terms.
for that
Yeah,
office.
I don't agree that
Has
we
nothing
waive
to do with
anybody's
Sue.
restrictions.
That's what I was trying to get to.
Pardon?
It has nothing to do
Nothing to do
with
with
Sue.
Sue.
It has to do with the term, waiving the term.
Correct.
Because we got other people, we're not waiving these terms. I got a neighbor that was told to get off the board. And he's the only one that shows up to these meetings half the time. And he was told, you gotta go, as soon as we find a replacement, you're out. And that's on the Parks Board, really.
So a motion to approve A and to not waive B
Correct.
is the motion.
Exactly.
Okay.
Any other discussion?
Trying to be clear.
One point of clarification, not relative to the motion, but just some history. We did experience, on some boards, we had good people. We didn't really have ample applicants at the time, but our resolution didn't give us any options. It was point blank, 2 terms, you're off.
Right.
So back in October of 2020, we amended that resolution to give the council the authority to waive the requirement to give us more flexibility. So some of those people that we addressed prior to that, we were following our resolution because we had not given ourselves the authority to waive that restriction until October of last year. So that, just to give
Yeah,
you
no,
some
I
history.
understand. And so wouldn't you think that, so how do we pick and choose who we're going to waive it on?
That's your all's
That's our
decision.
option.
That's your all's option.
The option's still available,
That's
what I'm
our,
saying.
that's our option.
As long as we've got 3 people sitting here saying, I got somebody, and I got somebody, there's no need to waive it.
We don't have applications, Don.
Because we haven't had an
We don't
opportunity.
have applications.
They do.
You have applications.
But you will tomorrow, right, Don?
And so, if I'm understanding then, if we waive the possibility, what was your verdict?
My motion was to not waive the
Not waive.
restriction of the individual serving more than 2 consecutive terms.
So does that mean that if Sue's name comes up in the future, it won't, will not be?
It's not
waived?
attached to her name.
This is in this
Attached
particular
to
instance.
this particular
In this
issue.
particular instance, for this particular board, at this particular time, we're not gonna waive it, is what this is saying. We still have the option to waive this in the future. We can turn around and do the same thing we're doing tonight, next time we meet.
Correct.
We could turn around and vote just exactly the opposite of what we're doing right now. We're leaving all the options still on the table. We're just not gonna waive it tonight.
gonna vote.
That's all we're saying. Am I
Yeah.
correct? Is anybody?
You're
That is
correct.
Okay.
And if I could clarify, my comments weren't for or against the motion, I was just
I understand.
providing some history.
Right, right.
Now, can we have a workshop item?
Yeah, that's
I
what
want
needs to
boards
happen.
and I want vacancies, and let's discuss.
I agree.
Or a list.
We have a motion and a second. Any other discussion? Submit your votes.
All votes are in.
See the votes. Unanimous approval then of Mr. Kenworthy and to not, I'm not sure, I'm not going to.
Not waive the restriction.
Do not waive the restriction for item B. Okay, item number 5, city manager report.
I have nothing additional.
Okay. Item number 6, council members' comments. Vice Mayor Case.
I missed the fireworks. I hope it was great. From what I've heard, it was. I don't know if the rain got you guys or not. I was golfing. I actually got to take a little bit of time off after filling in for the retired mayor who was on vacation. So,
Retired mayor.
Yeah, the retired mayor on vacation.
I caught that. I caught that.
But anyway, it's been really pleasant lately. The weather's been awesome, and I hope it continues. That's all I have.
Councilman Long.
No, I want to thank Calvin for a phenomenal fireworks show. He was able to get it done, and the skies opened up right after. So
Cool.
There were people here for Red Brick Nights that lived hours away and came just for the show. I made sure to make the rounds to thank everybody for sticking through the weather and finding out where they're from. And there were so many people here that don't live here, and so that was really cool to see. And so I appreciate everything Calvin did to make sure that the show
Glad it went well.
Councilman Taylor.
it was good.
Eric, thank you. You did a great job tonight. I appreciate, your hard work on that. Yeah, it is. And staff, thank you. I know a lot of you guys have been working overtime trying to get things figured out. So that's it.
Councilman Williams.
This weekend, I drove down through Cottonwood Flats and didn't count them, but there were numerous trailers down there. Numerous.
Yeah.
It was quite phenomenal. It speaks a lot about the Little Britches Rodeo thing going on. And in speaking with Leroy, I understand that you guys got one out there ahead of time and sucked up water puddles and everything else to make sure it was dry. And I can comment, I didn't see a lot of rutted up stuff. I was surprised, and then I learned what you did, so thank you to you and the other guys that took care of that. It was a great effort.
Councilman Channel?
I guess about the only thing I have is, does anybody know where you can buy a siren?
Yeah.
Thanks to all the guys. We had fun doing it. I hope they enjoyed it.
That hat's actually to put coleslaw in.
That's a different deal.
That's a little bit. That's the inside joke there. Councilman Mothra.
Yeah, I'd like to thank Eric too. You did a good job, Eric. Thanks for the coin. I appreciate that. And thanks to everybody else. That's what I got tonight.
Okay. Well, we've got Little Britches in town. Lots of, what is it, 2,600, something like that, 2,700 horses. And with each horse, obviously, comes a rider and parents and grandparents and family. And so lots of Little Britches folks out here from Lazy through Sunday, I believe, Saturday or Sunday. We welcome them. And again, Red Brick Nights, first time I've ever watched fireworks with windshield wipers going in my truck. But I tell you what, it was great even with that. It was great even with that. Super job by all, and persevering through some challenging weather. We do have vacancies. Park, the Board of Adjustments, who we just talked about, Airport, Historic Preservation. We're either have or are anticipating vacancies in those boards and commissions. So if you've got an interest, want to come and join in a more direct way, Team Guthrie, to all the members that are watching out there in TV land, it's a good opportunity. With that, ladies and gentlemen, we're adjourned. Thank you.
We're not adjourned.
Oh, I'm sorry. Gosh, we're not. Sorry, item 7, consider approval to reconvene into executive session for purposes of talking about the police and firefighters contracts. We have a motion?
Second.
Give me the motion. Motion.
Chris.
And a second. Submit
Your
your
job
votes.
is to make sure
Submit
that's
your votes.
still there when I come back out.
See the votes.
Go. I'm kind of on the table.
Yeah, you stay here.
On the fence.
You stay here. Semi